This Sunday, Ocean Unity welcomes Trixie Addison, visiting from Brighton, Colorado. Trixie is a licensed religious science practitioner holding degrees in communication and organizational leadership from Regis University, along with 19 years experience in corporate training, specializing in leadership development. This fall, she'll complete a master's degree in consciousness studies from Holmes Institute and is currently a ministerial student with Centers for Spiritual Living. Trixie's passion comes through coaching and mentoring others to overcome challenges, improve relationship qualities, and enhance or find hidden talents. She's excited to step into the next phase of her career, offering her skills, knowledge, and passion to those discovering their personal spiritual journey. Today, Trixie will introduce our theme for May in a message entitled An Out-of-the-Box Friendship. Box. Friendships can take many forms, she says, and be found in unexpected places. When we have the courage to step out of the box, we find a new friendship that can alter our view of the world. Sharing from personal experience, she will guide us through 4 steps to get out of the box and create a trusting and supportive relationship with ourselves. Please welcome Trixie Addison.
I am so happy to be here. And I love the first song when it said, I'm manifesting my dreams, because I get to be here as I'm manifesting my dreams. So as being a minister. So thank you. And thank you to all of you on Zoom. I love the topic of friendship because when we talk about friends, we have a tendency to share feelings about our friends. It's in the words we use to describe them. It's in the words when we think of that friend. And it's the emotions that come with it. But one of the things that happens is that friendship can come in some unusual ways. And sometimes it's a commonality that we have that might be a little unorthodox at times. And that's what I want to talk about today, is how we can have a friendship in a place that, well, we might not always find. And that's based in our past. So I like thinking about the past as like a pair of glasses. Maybe there's an event in your life that could be represented by a pair of glasses. And when you put them on, the lenses that we look through, well, that can influence the view of our world. So let's say, for example, this pair of glasses represented a job that maybe it didn't end so well. And so in our next employment, we tend to view it as, oh, here it comes. I know I'm about to get laid off. And so we start acting that way. Or maybe we volunteered somewhere and it didn't go so well. And now all of a sudden in that volunteer moment, we go, oh, here it comes. It's coming again. Maybe we have a lens that we see in relationships. Maybe you had a bad experience in a relationship, and in your next one, that's how you view it. Yep, about to be cheated on, I can tell. And what happens is this changes how we actually behave and how we interact with people. Maybe there's a trauma in your life, and you start to view the world with dark lenses. Maybe there's a childhood drama that you might need to work through. What ends up happening is we keep all of these experiences, and we have a tendency to keep them in one place in us. And I like to use a box as that analogy. And so they sit in this box. But the thing is, you'll notice this box has high sides. You can't see in it, which means nothing can come in it. and nothing can come out of it. Now, this box, it actually has a name. And the name of it is your ego. Now, your ego is a defense mechanism. It helps you make sure that you don't relive these moments again. And sometimes it's not always in a healthy way, but it wants to make sure that you don't go through those past experiences again. It's protecting you, even though it may not be in the right way. Now, Wayne Dyer actually has a name for ego called edging God out. And when you think about it, especially using a box, well, God can't get into a box because we have sheltered ourselves to a point that God can't come in. So one of the things I want to talk about is how we can actually start to build that relationship. One of the things I love about that first song is there's a line that says, my cells are in alignment. I'm as God created me. God didn't create the box. That's not what God meant. We're the ones that built that box. Which also means we're the ones that can take it down. So one of the first steps we want to do is to build a relationship with our ego. And the first step is to actually name it, because you can't be friends with a box. So once you have named your box starts to alter. And now a side of it can now be removed. What ends up happening is that we can now start to see it as something other than something that's holding us in. So mine is named Nellie. Nellie is one of the many nicknames for the Loch Ness Monster. I don't know how it came to be for me, but it's Nellie. And anytime I recognize Nellie showing up, I always address it by name, because that's what you do with friends. Now, our next step, well, you gotta be aware when your ego starts to talk to you. So the ego has two different types of voices. It has an external voice. It can show up as, I can't do that because I got to take care of the cat. Or I would love to do that, but someone's got to water the garden, so I can't do that. Or you actually may say yes to something, and then the day of, cancel. And you come up with a reason of why you cancel, even if it's not true. They are all excuses. And that's what the ego does, is it helps to create excuses so that we can not have to do certain things, which would run a risk of a past experience reoccurring. Now, your ego, well, it also has an internal voice. And that's what plays inside your head. You're not good enough. You're not worthy. You're not of value. And that's that internal voice that your ego has. And it scares you from actually stepping out and actually taking a chance. So we live in our box. So for me, one of the things that has come up is being on this path of becoming a minister. Well, I'm doing a lot of things that I never would have done before. I'm walking into churches that I haven't been in and introducing myself and sharing my credentials. And that's just not something that I'm comfortable with. And there's Nellie chiming in, going, oh, you don't want to go to that church. They need you, but yeah, you're going to have to put yourself out there. And I recognize Nellie. So when you have that level of awareness, whether you are saying it or you're hearing it, ask yourself, what's the trigger? Is there a lens that I am viewing this opportunity through? What's holding me back? And there may be an opportunity to do some work on how to release that. I know that I'm going to have to do some work around getting brave and having that courage to go out there. The only way the word is going to be spread. Now, our next piece is you got to have a conversation with your ego. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the ego is pretty sneaky. And it may agree with you, but then it's going to put into those defense mechanisms because that's what it does. It's designed to protect you. So when you have that conversation, you got to let your ego know, I'm in the driver's seat this time. I want to be the one to step out there because I'm a different person now. I'm in a whole new level of my development that I want to step out and do this. Just be prepared. The ego may come back and say, okay, that's nice, but I'm in charge. So sometimes you got to be a little stuck with your ego. But always know that the ego really does have your best interest in heart to protect you. But we can't live that way. We got to step out. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is that for me, one of my triggers is we moved around a lot when I was a kid. And I went to a lot of different schools. And I was always the new kid. And trust me, kids can be tough. We all know that. And when you have a funny name, that doesn't add to things. So what happens is that I hear Nellie chime in and go, well, you could go to that meeting, but be careful you don't get embarrassed. Because if you become embarrassed, then people are going to look at you weird. Or you won't be accepted. Or you may run into some challenge. I wouldn't do that. Or I may be invited to a class to attend. And, oh, well, no, in that class, they're going to ask you to share. And that could be really embarrassing. And no one's going to want to be your friend. That's my trigger. And I know that this is something I'm going to be working with my practitioner on to help me through that, to help me alter my view of attending different things. Once we start to have that type of conversation, then what ends up happening is another level of the box starts to disappear because you're having a dialogue. Now, our fourth step, well, that is actually showing gratitude. We don't want to make anybody wrong because the ego is a part of who we are, because those are our memories it's holding. So we want to make sure we're showing gratitude. Thank you for protecting me up until this point. I want to be in the driver's seat. You can be in the passenger seat. All right. I want to make sure I'm doing this. And you want to have that level of gratitude. When you start to have that level of gratitude, then your friendship can start to grow. And now, when you do those 4 steps, your box is gone. The ego is gone. And what you're left with is your memories. But here's the thing, is that now these are exactly what they are. An event or a memory from your past. They don't dictate how you see and how you view life. The other thing is you'll notice that this box is clear. So now that the divine can come in and it can flood this box with love and with light. And when you start to take a look at some of these events, some of these with the dark lenses, Well, now you know where you need to do some work. Because before we couldn't hear we needed to do work in certain areas because it was shadowed by the box. Now we can see it. So when you are making friends and working with your ego, and for me, it's Nellie, I actually have been able to do a lot of trauma work and get past stuff and view life in a completely different way and not being sheltered. There is a line from the song that we did with Karen Drucker. I see the beauty, the greatness, the power, the courage. When you drop those walls, you can start to see that. I will let you know that this takes work. I wish I could give you all a magic wand and say, poof, you're all taken care of. But it takes work. It takes nurturing, just like you would any other type of friendship. You've got to nurture it and bring it along. One of the things that I have found and through doing this is that when I feel my ego, I feel disconnected. I feel like I'm kind of lost and something is missing. But now that I hear Nellie, what's interesting is before Nellie would chime in and say, whoa, careful, you're heading into something, don't want to do that. And now when I hear Nellie, it's wait a second, something is happening that is going to put us back into this box. I don't want to go back in the box. Something's got to work here. We have to work through something. And so now Nellie isn't my nemesis. She isn't my defense mechanism. She's actually shining light on where I might need to do some work. And that's all through building that level of friendship. So I want to close with a quote from Thomas Troward. We realize we are no longer bound by the consequences of our former deeds. In fact, we have never been bound by them, except we gave power to them. Now we recognize ourselves for what they really are. We are the expression of infinite spirit, infinite personality. We are free. We are partakers of the divine nature, not losing our identity, but becoming more and more fully ourselves. We are specialized and spiritualized individuals. So let us pray. Ah, great spirit, that infinite source of love, of beauty, of joy. It surrounds each and every one of us, whether we are in this room or we are online. Its presence is here. The divine is that shining light which is felt around this planet, bringing each and every person together. And I know that light shines in each and every one of our hearts. And as we come together, that bright light, it shines even brighter. For that is the divine coming in, filling us with joy. Oh, and I declare the walls of our past, they break free. They are falling aside. Oh, this lets our past truly be in the past. And we are able to view the world for all the beauty it is. With our new friendship, we are able to view the world in such a new way. Experience life the way it was designed to be. Oh, what beauty, joy. And I know that as our egos slip away and our friendships begin, those that we encounter, they get to experience the divine through us. They are able to see the love of the divine in us. I am so thankful that we are on this journey. So thankful that we are able to fully release everything that we don't need so that the divine can come in and fill us with that wisdom to live life the way we were designed to be. And I declare ourselves are in alignment. And so I release these words into that universal law, knowing that everything has manifested exactly the way it is meant to be. Oh, such joy, such beauty. And so I release and I say, and so it is, amen.